For many years in the past, we used to hear young men and women say that they wanted to be a police officer when they grew up. But unfortunately, we're not hearing that as much anymore. Law enforcement agencies across the country experienced a wave of retirements and departures and are struggling to recruit the next generation of police officers in the years following the BLM and Antifa riots, where we saw police attacked night after night continuously all summer. Over 93 police cars were burned, and over $2 billion in damages were wrought in communities all over America. The rate of retirements of some departments rose 45% with the previous year, according to research on nearly 200 law enforcement agencies. At the same time, hiring slowed by 5%. The wave had come as local lawmakers and federal lawmakers pledged to enact reforms on police, such as ending the policies that give officers immunity for their actions while on duty. Studies show there has been a 44% increase in retirements and an 18% increase in resignations in police departments. In Atlanta, the department has been down 400 to 500 officers over the past 3 years. One officer who left Atlanta said, basically, we're one bullet away from death and one mistake away from indictment. So why roll the dice with my future when I can go do something else? These are the saddest statements that I think we can hear coming from police officers, feeling that they're forced into retirement because no one is supporting them on the job. In their exit interviews, many of them cited the defund movement and lack of support from local elected officials as a reason for leaving their departments and leaving law enforcement completely.
There are some on this committee, not all, certainly not the chairman, who have advocated for defunding the FBI. Do you think we should defund the FBI, Mr. Mays?
No, sir.
Sheriff?
No, sir. I have a son who's an FBI agent, so no. I want to keep him employed.
Mr. Bullock?
No, sir.
And Mr. Bryant?
No, sir.
So I just want to have some real talk with you all and some of my colleagues, because I'm the son of a cop. My brothers are cops. I was a prosecutor. Law enforcement for our family is not a career, it's a way of life. It's about putting the bad guys away and keeping the community safe. And so to me, when I hear some of my colleagues, again, not all of them, but some of them on this committee thump their chest and say that they back the blue, but then they're going to call a January 6th convict a hostage, that's not back in the blue, that's back in the coup. And when some of them say that they back the blue, but the second the blue raids the house of their preferred candidate for president, that's not backing the blue, that's backing a fool.
This is hardly the first time that Marjorie Greene's back the blue hypocrisy has come back to bite her.
It was her that actually organized a trip to the DC jail to hug and high five and sit with the insurrectionists that actually attacked our Capitol. So if we're talking about the safety of DC and the Capitol, it's just quite, I think, ironic. This is all facts. This is quite ironic that the insurrectionists that tried to overthrow our government in the capital city were being coddled. We're actually being coddled by. It's quite a shame that you call them political prisoners or hostages. I think maybe you called them. They actually try to overthrow our government. Let me continue with my time.
She's not recognized.
Thank you. So I think it's quite interesting that my colleague trying to talk about the safety of DC.
I'm just one representative of the hundreds of police officers that were assaulted that day by Donald Trump's supporters, inspired by his lies. The lies that continue to this day to inspire my fellow Americans to turn against their fellow Americans, to turn against police officers. At the end of the day, this election is about Donald Trump and his vision for the office of the President of the United States. Not as a public servant who answers to the people who elected him, but as an authoritarian who answers to and serves only himself.
Maybe that was a preview of what a debate between Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Marjorie Greene would actually look like. If you can't defend your position, you just walk out. But beyond that hissy fit, the GOP have always had a very childish view of what's good and bad. Trump, good. He's innocent because he says things that I like. January 6ers, also good. They like Trump. Cops, good. They wear uniforms, they carry guns, and they disproportionately target black people and the poor. But when pesky things like their leader getting arrested happen, they don't know how to process it. Cops and law enforcement are the good guy, but now they're locking up the best guy. So what do you do?
There's something that is imminent and I'm concerned about because it just put a target on the back of everybody in law enforcement at the federal level and the local level. And that is a statement that one of our colleagues made earlier this week. And we have jurisdiction over the FBI as well as the ATF. But Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia said, the Biden DOJ and FBI were planning to assassinate President Trump and gave the green light. Does everyone get it yet? What are Republicans going to do about it? This is quite a concerning statement from an elected member of Congress because this false statement creates the pretext for violence. It suggests to Americans, who, by the way, are armed to the teeth, we're a country where the most dangerous people have access to the most dangerous weapons, and it suggests to them that their own government and the people who wear the badge are out to assassinate the former president. And I just want to first clear up this falsity, and the FBI this week has issued a statement to do that. But first and foremost, the search at Mar-a-Lago, the former president was not there. And that was intentional. So if there was an effort to assassinate the former president, they went at a time when he was not there. Second, the former president was actually treated better than most people during a raid because the FBI didn't go in with their raid jackets. They wore polo shirts to show a little bit of respect to the former president and not make it a raid-like environment. Third, standard use of force procedures were followed during that search as they were followed in every search, including, fourth, the same search procedures and use of force policy that was used to retrieve documents at President Biden's Delaware residence. This is a pretext for violence, and I will yield to any of my colleagues who will join me in condemning it. I will yield to any colleague who will condemn the suggestion by Marjorie Taylor Greene that the FBI was out to assassinate former President Trump. Please condemn it.
Representative Tom McClintock was actually the only representative present who actually condemned Marjorie Greene's words, and even that was weak and disingenuous, stating that both sides have a lunatic fringe, which, sure, maybe, but only one side is a fringe that includes elected congresswomen threatening violence against police, defending those who attack and kill cops, while also tearing up about how hard the police have it these days. It's weak and inconsistent and performative, and look, if you want to defend the cops, go right ahead, but I hope they notice that your support comes with some very significant strings attached. You'll fund them, as long as they don't raid Mar-a-Lago. You'll put up flags celebrating them, but then use those flagpoles to assault the cops defending the Capitol on January 6th. You'll lift them up as heroes, until the time comes to say that those who tried to kill the cops are the true political prisoners, the true patriots. Yeah, Marjorie loves cops. The MAGA movement loves cops. Until they get in your way, then all bets are off. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?